What does it look like to sacrifice without suffering? It's a big question. It's a big question that came up for me recently in working with one of my coaches. This idea that I always seem to think I need to sacrifice myself in service to others and that it needs to hurt. That I need to feel the prolonged and pronounced pain of suffering in order for that sacrifice to be greater than it really is, to magnify that sacrifice, that gift that I'm giving to my people. I need to suffer for it. Now, I don't know about you. If you can relate to this, then just raise your hand, tap your heart wherever you are. But for me, I can connect this all the way back to my religious background, being raised in a Christian household with Catholic influences, the idea of Christ suffering on the cross and sacrificing himself for all of our sins. It's clear that there's a huge influence and element to that that's like impacting me. But beyond that, because in reality, my family wasn't a bunch of deliberate or devoted practicing Catholics and Christians, there was still that mindset that was woven into everything that we did, that everything that was done for the benefit of others, that everyone else was always prioritized over the self, and that to do it and then also be seen with for how much that each of us was giving and how much we had to sacrifice in order to benefit other people. It was like a contest. It's like, who can be the biggest martyr here, right? Who can be the biggest victim of their circumstances would gain the most status. And the impact of that has on the psyche, when we make a competition out of suffering, that the only outcome can be greater and greater suffering. Just look at that for a second, right? If the idea of any community, regardless of their spiritual or religious beliefs, is that in order to have the highest measure of status, you need to sacrifice the most, and your sacrifice is amplified by how much you suffered while doing it, then what is our society and our community going to look like? Just think about that for a second. I thought about it a lot because even though I've been aware of this for many years, it's so ingrained in the patterns of the modeling that I've seen growing up that it shows up everywhere in my life. Still, there's this idea that in order to be of service and to do it in a way that really, really demonstrates value to others, that really helps people out, in order for that sacrifice to be really juicy and good, I need to suffer for it. I need to feel pain. I need to feel tired. I need to feel broken and beaten and on my last limbs. That's the most valuable sacrifice that there is. And just look at the images that we have, especially when you think religiously. Look at those images. And this is not a knock on religion or Christianity or Catholicism. If it works for you, that's fine. But just consider that message, that very specific message right there. The greater the sacrifice, the greater the pain, the greater the suffering, the more valuable the sacrifice is to the people. So recently, I was challenged to consider, what if I could make a sacrifice without the suffering? What if I can make a sacrifice? And yes, it's going to hurt. We know there's a difference between pain and suffering. We've talked about that on a previous podcast. Go check that one out. But what if I could just embrace sacrifice with the pain that is naturally going to happen without taking it to a level of suffering? Because pain is a part of the process. Discomfort is synonymous with pain. Pain, discomfort, adversity, difficulty, challenge, all of that, one category. That goes along with sacrifice. Sometimes we need to overcome those things in order to be of service to others. That to me is the true spirit of sacrifice and giving and generosity. But the suffering part, that's the story that I tell myself about what I'm experiencing. The story I lead myself to believe about what it takes for me to give this part of myself. And that's where I can turn up the volume or I can turn it way down. It's like a dial for me. Suffering, if I want to really invest in that story, crank the knob and let it blare. Let the speakers just bust out, because I want to let everyone else know and myself know how much this hurts. Because in some way, I think that's going to amplify the sacrifice, the gift that I'm giving. But what if it didn't have to hurt? Or even if it did hurt, what if I looked at that pain and found the joy in doing that? What if I found the simplicity of humility, the kindness of my heart to put myself through some discomfort, some challenge, some adversity for the pure joy of giving? What would that look like? What would that feel like? When I tried that on for a minute, I was like, I'll take that one. It's like when you go to a store and you see something that you really love and you've had it before and you're like, oh yeah, let me grab that. And you grab that really quickly off the shelf before even looking and realizing that, whoa, there's an even better version of this thing that I love right next to it. Let me try that instead. That's the feeling I had. I was like, wow, what if I can consider all this generosity that I want to, all this giving of myself that I want to give back to the people around me, doing it not from a place of suffering, like, oh, it's such a drag, like takes me down when I think about it, and reframe it to something different. What if I find a way to give of myself through joy, through peace, happiness, enthusiasm? Yes, I'm embracing the discomfort. Yeah, maybe I had to wake up early. I had to put a lot of physical effort and energy into it. Maybe I skipped a night of sleep or got a shorter night of sleep, whatever the sacrifice was. But I did that out of love, out of joy, not out of something that I need back. I don't need to dial up the story to max volume so that everyone can feel for me, have compassion or pity, right? Is that what experience do I want to have? What is the experience that I want to have in relationship to the sacrifices I make? So this idea of participating in sacrifice but not having it need to be suffering has been a game changer for me. And I wonder what it's like for you guys to hear that too. Because there's so many men out there right now who are sacrificing, right? We're giving up time, we're giving up energy, we're stepping away from our families to go out and work. We're digging deep into ourselves to be uncomfortable, to access more of our emotional selves, to share more of ourselves with our families, to access more of our power, choosing to do that. But what's the story you're telling yourself about that sacrifice? And is that story one that you really want to turn the volume up on? Or is there another story over here sitting on the shelf right next to that one that you can exchange for that old story and turn the volume up on that one? A story that says, yes, I get to wake up early. I get to drop my kids off at school. I get to go to the gym, take care of myself, work on my body, go home, work on my business, bring resources and money and whatever we need into the home. Whatever it takes for me to do that, I get to do that. And I can do it from a place of joy, from a place of humility and gratitude that, I get to do this on behalf of others. Not poor me, not why me. Why does it have to be me? Why has it got to be so hard on me? Those are those old stories that are connected to the suffering. You don't have to suffer. You don't have to suffer. That story doesn't have to be the only story you tell yourself. And I'm learning that for me too. It's not the only story that I need to tell myself. I don't need to motivate myself from what I might get when people see how hard it's been on me. I can do it from a place of joy and let that fill me up instead of the pity or the sympathy that I might get from somebody who hears how hard it's been. So we can't take away the pain, can't take away the hardship. That's just life, period. That's going to happen when we put ourselves out there, when we aim to be of service to others, when we look to provide and protect for the people that we love. But the story we tell about it, that's a choice. That's a difference. That's something that I can do something about right now. So what will you do about it? I want to know. Come tell us. Come join the community. Step into the Brotherhood space and come chat about this. We have our Monday morning meditation weekly review session every single Wednesday. Whatever the episode is for the week that we drop, we talk about it on Wednesday. All you have to do is register and become a part of our free Brotherhood community. Jump in there, get on the Wednesday call, and let's discuss it. All right? And make sure you tune in each and every week for another Monday morning meditation. Catch you later.